So for me growing up, I loved sports. Your basics, basketball, baseball, hockey, football, even played golf as I got a little bit older. But I was never too big into the extreme sports. So my brothers liked things like snowboarding or maybe skateboarding. But for me, I wasn't into those things. And just recently, now as an adult, I have some friends who are into some more extreme sports. There's one in particular though, that they really love. And what they love, and it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it's hard, is, maybe you've seen these on a playground. Are you ready? Got some things with me today. Rock climbing. Climbing the rocks, scaling the walls, climbing not Mount Everest, but maybe some fun mountains. So, the thing with rock climbing, if you've ever done it or heard about it or seen it, is just like any sport, you need equipment. So you think of, right, these things. This is what you do. These are what you hold on to, what you step on. You need some rope. That's important. You know rope? That's pretty dangerous. That's a little dangerous. But the main thing that you really need is a harness. And yes, it looks as mangled as this. It is as mangled as it looks, but that's how it works. Now, harness, once you put it on, it's incredibly uncomfortable. Any freedom that you once had in your legs is gone. They're pretty stiff. You can still move, but it's pretty uncomfortable. It's really restricting. Doesn't feel great, but it's really important. Once you get 15, 20, 30 feet up a wall or a cliffside, you need a harness. If you don't have a harness, you're gonna fall. You're gonna be dangling. It's dangerous, not good. Need a harness. It's there for you. And the reason I share this with you today is because as we're talking about the first of the 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments, it might just look like a list of rules, might look really restricting, might look a little uncomfortable, but it's really important. And God actually put these there for his children. He put the 10 Commandments there for the Israelites at the time when this was written, when they were given to the Israelites in the Old Testament. It wasn't to restrict them. It wasn't to penalize them so he could punish them or anything like that, but it was a set of rules that was there for him. Much like the harness is there for you when you're climbing. It's not there to restrict you. It's there so that you can be safe, so that you have a better way to climb. A better way to live life is why God gave the Israelites the 10 Commandments. It was there as a gift for them, not to take things from them. And so when we look at that time, which is interesting, because the first commandment that he gave that we're talking about today is this. It's really simple and short. Do not have any other gods. Do not have any other gods. Easy. Now, you might think, easy for me, no problem. Do not have any other gods. I only know about one God anyway, so that's easy. Good deal. Now, the tricky thing is, right at the time God was giving the Israelites this command, they were in the middle of building their own God. They were literally physical God. They had taken all of their gold, all of their precious things, put them together, and then they built a golden calf that was an idol or a God with a little g, right? We think about Father, Heavenly God with a big G. This is little g God. Now, Moses comes down, right? Moses comes down with the 10 Commandments in the story, with the tablets that God gave him, with the 10 Commandments that God gave for all of his children, all of his people. And the first one says, do not have any other gods. When we think about gods, here's what I want you to think about. Little g. It's anything that we put our hope in. It's anything that we look to for value. It's anything that we look to for satisfaction or purpose. Because that's what the Israelites were doing with this God that they had built. Anything we put our hope in, anything we give value to or seek value from, anything that really takes the place of the capital G God, right? Of Heavenly Father God. You think about things like success. Think about things like sports and how you do in those. Think about things like in the classroom and your grades and how you seek your worth or maybe approval from somebody that you're really trying to receive. Maybe it's a phone or an addiction that you have and something that really just takes the place of God in our life. We do that all the time. We do it way too often. And so we have these commands in place from God as a gift, not to restrict us, but to protect us, to guide us. Because guess what? Whenever we put our identity, whenever we seek our worth or seek value or our purpose or satisfaction from any of those things that don't last, We end up 15, 20, 30 feet up a wall or a cliffside without a harness. And it's not the way that God would have us live our life. In Luther's Small Catechism, this is what it says. We should fear, love, and trust in God above all things. I'll read that again. It says, we should fear, love, and trust in God above all things. And so God's plan for us, his hopes for us, isn't to put our fear, love, and trust in these other things. It's not to put our fear, trust, and love in our comfort, or put our fear, trust, and love in our circumstance, or in our classroom, or in our family dynamic. It's to put our fear, love, and trust in God above all other things. And when we do that, we're walking in the light. We're walking in the path that God has prepared for us to walk. And so as you're thinking and talking about this today, I want you to ask yourself, have you ever, and maybe it's easier to ask it like this, what's something someone at your school or somebody your age might normally put in God's place? What's one of those things maybe I listed off, or maybe another thing that they would put in God's place? And then think about this for yourself. Think about what's something maybe one time, and maybe it's more often, maybe you realize that you do this pretty often, and something that you've put in the place of God. Heavenly Father, what's a little g God that you've put in the place of big G God?